5 years ago, a man walked into Sandy Hook Elementary School and killed 20 children, 6 adults, and then himself. Although this action warranted the government to step in and do some legal action, no major gun law has been enacted since then. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about gun control, about America's unique gun problem, about how the number of guns increasing does not mean less crime, and then finally, how gun control has been successful around the world. So for starters, America has the most guns out of any other developed country in the world. Out of the 323 million people that exist on the U.S., there stands at least 300 million guns. Now, to put that in another perspective, the United States only has 5% of the total world's population, and yet they control over 42% of all guns. And yet, even though we control those amount of guns, only 1/3 of the U.S.'s population actually owns those guns. And yet, despite this, even though they are a passionate majority, Congress has yet to make a gun control law. Which leads me to the next point. As we increase the amount of guns, it does not decrease crime. In fact, it is shown that the states with the most amount of guns per household have the most amount of crime. Wyoming, with almost 60% of households owning a gun, contribute to about 20 deaths per 100,000 people existing in that state. So what can we do? Well, around the world, especially in Australia, gun control has been shown to be extremely effective. In Australia, after one mass shooting, the government banned all guns and had a buyback program where they purchased all the remaining guns that were out there. Over the next 5 years after that action, the homicide rate dropped 42%. Substantial. In Japan, again, do you know how many mass shootings Japan has had in their existence? 6. And this is because of their really highly controlled gun control. Owning a gun in Japan is a privilege where you have to take a driver-like education just to own one. So, America has a unique gun problem, yeah. And we know that increasing the amount of guns does not reduce the crime. But we do know that there are ways to stop homicides with guns, and that is by enacting some sort of gun control. So, although around the world mass shootings have been mainly the main reason why gun control has been enacted, the U.S. still stands by its antiquated laws. Something needs to be done. And although banning all weapons is not going to stop criminals, as Ronald Reagan says, while we recognize assault weapon legislation will not stop assault weapon crime, statistics prove that if we can reduce the amount of assault weapons out there, we can drastically reduce the amount of crime being committed with them. Thank you.